Disclaimer, none of the information today shared, including product information about the age pill, is designed to prevent, cure, or treat any disease. We're not making medical claims, and we do need to advise to check with your doctor first if you're unwell and taking supplements. And the information in this presentation is for educational purposes only. So please do your own research and consult your health provider. So I'm just going to escape out of there and let's get into it.
The course of time, and she's been really happy, but I've got her on tonight.
In order to tell you how much sisal means to me, I'm going to give you a little bit of background. When I was really young, I got spinal meningitis and labyrinthitis at the same time, and I almost died. And for 3 years every day, I thought I would die. I had months of dizziness at a time, loss of memory, couldn't hardly do anything. So I thought the best thing I can do is to get on good nutrition and start exercising. Well, that's what I did. So I joined a gym. I was a vegetarian, about 110 pounds, didn't drink or smoke, and here's all these big meat eaters. And they kind of laughed at me. Oh, she's never going to do anything. But pretty good. I stayed with it, and I got to where I could curl with a 100-pound barbell. I could hang upside down on a bench with a 65-pound barbell in each hand and a 1,000-pound leg press, and turned out to be one of the strongest people in the gym and still a vegetarian. So I stuck with that. But even though all these years, the dizzy spills never went away, still had memory loss now and then, and it just kind of messed up everything. Bill and I are both pilots. We bought 2 planes, and I had to stop flying because anything over 2,500 feet, I'd lose my balance. So it's been quite a thing. So this is where sisal comes in. All these years, I've tried just about everything that's come on the market. Anything that I even heard of that might help this problem, I tried. So when Bill and I joined on July 21st, I thought, oh, well, here comes another one. I'll try this one, too. So I took, I think we got the product on the 28th, so I took a couple pills, and I'm so sensitive that within 2 minutes, I thought, oh, my gosh, I love this. So we kind of talked about it, and I said, well, order a bunch of that. I really like that. I think it's going to help me. So over the weeks and months, I went from 2 pills to 3, which I'm taking now, and I kind of stayed in the background and kept track of any changes. Well, I had to stop in the gym for quite a while, so the last couple of years I've been going back. And I did pretty good, but since I've been on the sisal products, my muscles in my biceps, I used to measure 13.5 inches, and I'm back up to 12.5 inches. Some of the machines that I used to use, actually the rips too, with the H pill, but I mean, I'm getting so close to what I used to do, and this is 30 years ago. So I am so tickled. I notice a lot of difference in my skin, my face, my muscles, and my body actually have, it just looks like I've lost 10 years off my life. I look a lot younger, I feel younger, and I've got so much energy that I can't believe it. I get in there and I go from machine to machine, never get winded, never get sore. Anything I want to do, I go out there and weed whack or tear up or do whatever I have to do. And these products, I just can't even believe it. It's a miracle. And the dizziness has stopped, and the brain fog has stopped. I'm doing a 3-volume children's series right now, and I'm editing in between everything else. So I can't even tell you how good these are. And I will never stop taking this because I've just tried everything with every company, and there is nothing like sisal. These products are to die for. So anybody that's even thinking about quitting, don't do it, because this stuff will extend your life, and you'll feel better than you've ever felt. And that's about as good as I can do for today.
Jerry Shaw is right there. It would be a real thrill to hear from him.
Yeah, and you. And Bill was talking about everything Sizzle had, and they have us, and, well, they've got Bill Whiteley, they've got Daphne Begg, and yes, indeed, it doesn't get any better than this, folks. It's a great place to be, and my experience started with the Age Pill back at the end of July. Because Bill Whiteley and I have been friends for years, we go back about 20 years, and we've developed that trust over the years. So if Bill Whiteley's interested in it, I am. And I started looking at the science, and I got very interested. I started seeing what nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide could do on a cellular level. So I really I had to try the product. And I had a number of things that I had struggled with over recent years. And one of them, without mentioning conditions, one of them contributed to massive spasms at night and kept me from sleeping. So I was really exhausted, and I didn't even know how exhausted, but I knew that I was pretty run down. And when I started the Age Pill, I slept for the first time in years deeply. And I ended up sleeping, well, probably I woke up, because I was waking up before like 3:30, 4 o'clock, as well as numerous times during the night. And I would just get up. But this time I slept all the way through till the sun was coming in. It was probably about 6 a.m. And I thought, wow, that was unusual. I slept all night. And then I closed my eyes and ended up just dropping into sleep again. And when I woke up, it was 10 a.m. And I'd realized I'd slept about 12 hours. And that's just, that hasn't happened in probably 30 years or more. And I thought, wow, it must be the Age Pill. But I realized over the course of the next couple of weeks, I not only slept more deeply at night, I was taking naps during the daytime. And that may sound kind of counter to some people, because one of the things the Age Pill is known to do is allow our energy to be better, and kind of it's very restorative to our bodies. But truth is, it allows the cells to function as they were intended. There's a number of things going on. It's getting rid of the lipofuscin, which is the buildup inside the cell that happens through normal metabolic processes. And that lipofuscin, we lose the ability to jettison that out of the cells as we get older, about 20, 23, 24 years old. And it begins to become an issue. It creates a stagnation and blocks the mitochondria's effectiveness, so the energy production becomes less, and we begin to notice that as we get older, we have less energy. Our receptor sites on the cell membrane become blocked, and various things happen because of that, because certain hormones rely on open receptor sites, and included among those are insulin, serotonin, melatonin, those kinds of things that we need for health. And as those receptor sites become blocked, our health becomes compromised. The other things in the Age Pill, well, and then DNA, DNA becomes damaged by the lipofuscin and mutations and things like that cause all kinds of problems as we get older. So it's good to get that stuff out of the cells so the cell can return to normal function, like when we were in our 20s, like Tom Maurer says. So that's a great thing, but also there's ingredients that help support not only energy production, but help support muscle, help support fat burning, help support connective tissues, help support digestion, help support the brain and nervous system, helps to promote deeper sleep. All of these things contributing to the cell functioning at a higher level, when in my case, I really needed the deeper sleep. And that's what I was getting, and more consistently, and even taking naps during the day. So at the end of about 2 weeks, I hit a point where a lot of things began to change, and my energy level was really stable through the day. And no longer was I taking that nap in the middle of the day, and no longer was I sleeping as long as I was. I was actually requiring less sleep now. So it had actually helped restore me back to where I was years ago, when I just had really good energy. I could get a lot done. I didn't need as much sleep, and I really was happy about that. So a lot of things began to unravel over the months that went by. One of those is I noticed a knee injury from college, athletic injury from college, was dramatically improving. It was getting stronger, and it was very concerning to me, that knee, my left knee, that maybe I was headed for knee replacement surgery, because it was just getting worse and worse and very weak, and it was pretty constant pain. And because it's the leg you push off of to get into the car, I noticed how weak it was and just how bad it was. And I began to notice I could actually run again, and I hadn't been able to do that in years, and that was an amazing thing. So then something happened that probably about 3 months into the age pill. Because I was getting more done, I was looking around for things to do, and the garage door had been damaged. So I took it off the hinges, and I laid it out on some sawhorses, and I glued it up, and I had the clamps all on it. And as I cinched up the clamps, the door started to buckle a bit. And when you've got wet glue and you got clamps going and you have to work fast, so I knew I needed some weight to take care of that buckling. So I looked over, and there were some cinder blocks. Well, I quickly went over and grabbed these cinder blocks and laid, enough of them on the door to take care of the bow to keep it flat. Anyway, gosh, I was probably about 24 years old. I'm going to go back now before I end that story. When I was 24 years old, I was helping someone move a wood pile. And it was in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada out in California, and we uncovered a nest of black widow spiders. And we were carrying the wood on our shoulders and things before we uncovered that nest. And after that, it was like, whoa, Well, that night, I had pain in my shoulder, and I woke up with black widow spider bite on my trapezius. And I didn't know it was black widow spider bite, but I assumed it was because we literally saw hundreds of them. And I remember my mother telling me that her father, my grandfather, almost died from a black widow spider bite. So I was kind of worried, but I was way up in the mountains, and I felt like I had the flu. And I woke up that morning, and my lymph nodes just above my collarbone, there were 3 of them that just popped up like goose eggs. And it felt like I had the flu for about 3 days. But it never got really bad. But I had the flu for 3 days. That's pretty much what it was. I was sick. And then I finally started getting better, so it's like, wow, I'm going to live. So it was okay. But then a few years ago, I put on a pair of shoes to go hiking and was taking the dog for a hike, and I was in a hurry because the dog was all excited, and we were going, and everybody was in the car, and I grabbed my hiking boots, and I put them on, and I didn't shake them out. And I hadn't worn them for like a year. And that night, my foot hurt, and I was kind of limping around. And I thought, gosh, it feels like I sprained my ankle. I must have sprained my ankle, but I could never remember spraining my ankle. Well, the next morning, my foot was swollen really big. It looked like a football. And then I started getting sick. So I called, that was a Sunday, and I called another doctor friend of mine, and is a more internal medicine doctor, and so he met me in his office, special because we were friends, later that day on Sunday. And it had been about 24 hours, and he found a black widow spider bite on my foot, and he showed it to me with a magnifying glass, and he said, these are the distinctive marks, like a kind of fang marks. I tell you what, I was sicker than a dog, and my foot was so big I couldn't walk on it, and I was dizzy. I was so dizzy that I would throw up. And so I couldn't eat anything, and if I moved, I got dizzy, and I would dry heave if there was nothing in my stomach, and I would throw up if there was something in my stomach. I was really sick. And it lasted for the better part of a week. And my doctor friend, when I saw him, he said, anti-venom, it's too late for anti-venom because it had been 24 hours. He said, the only time anti-venom is effective for a black widow spider bite is if you get it to it immediately. And he said, if after 24 hours, the risk that the anti-venom gives you is greater than the benefit. So he didn't recommend doing it. So he gave me some proteolytic enzymes, and he actually recommended a couple of nutritionals. And one of them, interestingly, was NAD. But I was sick for the better part of a week, and really sick, way sicker than I was back when I was 24. So it gets worse, not better, those kind of bugs. Well, when I reached in and grabbed those cinder blocks, I had a little bit of a thought maybe I shouldn't do that, but I was in a hurry because the glue was drying, and so I just did it. I thought, what are the chances? Well, it was about, I don't know, a half hour or so after I did that, my thumb was itchy. I just kept itching my thumb, and I went and I looked at it. Oh, there were the characteristic fang marks of a black widow spider, just like my doctor friend showed me in the magnifying glass. And I thought, oh, no, here we go. I'm going to be sick for a week. I know it got worse the last time. If it gets even worse this time, I could die. Well, I waited for my hand to swell up like a football, like my foot did, and it never swelled up. So I, went to bed that night and waited to wake up the next morning and be all swollen up and sick. And never happened. And I felt just a little tinge of, not just a little off, but nothing major. It was no big deal. And the age pill, I believe, is the reason. It was allowing me to process it and get rid of the toxins. And there's that aspect of the age pill. So I could go on, but I know there's other people on the call, so I'll acquiesce. But the age pill is awesome. But I will say this. I think it works better if it's supported. And that's the great thing about Sizzle is they have these great nutritionals, the Fucoidan, Eternity, Spectromax. And I think the age pill helps the cell to do a number of things and helps to drive metabolism and cellular function to a whole new level. But it's real important to support that function with something synergistic like Fucoidan.